Hello again and welcome back to part 4 of the Sunburst Mandala throw. We're going to carry on this part of the tutorial on row 25. We're going to be working back post singles. So to start, as always, I'm going to slip knot onto the hook. We're going to start in the corner space here. So we're going to work one single into that corner space, followed by 2 chain and another single into the same space. On this row we're going to work every stitch, so the first single, the back post single, will be around that very first stitch there. Then we go straight on to the next one and work a back post single into that one. We're going to work all the way along each side exactly the same, working one back post single into every stitch, and in the corner stitches we'll work one single, 2 chain and 1 single. So I'll see you when we get to the corner. I've just worked the last back post single around the last stitch, so we now go straight into that corner chain space, work 1 single, 2 chain and a second single, and that will form the corner. We're going to go then straight into that first stitch again, working a back post single, and carry on then along the next side to the next corner, and again we've got 1 single, 2 chains and 1 single into that corner. So if you want to pause the video at this point and work all the way around this row, it's a nice straightforward simple row, and then I'll meet you when we're ready to start row 26. So we've now completed row 25. We're going to work on row 26. This row is a row of V stitches, and in the corners we're going to work 2 V's. We've got the chain space here of the corner from the last row, so I'm going to do a standing double into that chain space. That forms the first half of the first V, chain 1 and then back into that same space. There we've got the first V. We're going to do a chain in between the 2 V's, and we're going to work another V into that same chain space there. So that forms the new corner for row 26. We're going to skip 2 stitches. We're going to work a V into the next stitch. So we skip this one here and this one and work the V into the next stitch there. Chain 1 and the second double forms the V. We skip 2 stitches and work a V, and we're going to work exactly the same all the way along to the next corner. So we work a V, we skip 2 stitches after the corner, work a V, skip 2 stitches, work a V, and so on, and I'll see you when we get to the next corner. When you get to the corner and you've done your final V before the 2 V's in the corner, you should have 30 V stitches along the side. So we're going to skip the last 2 stitches, we're going to work 2 V's with a chain 1 space in between. So if there we've got the first V, chain 1 and work the second V into that same corner space. Going to skip the first 2 stitches, we're going to work a V into this next one, and then work exactly the same as the first side, a V stitch, skip 2 stitches and a V into the next one. I'm going to work all the way around exactly the same, skipping 2 stitches and work a V-stitch. So if you want to carry on, again, you can pause the video at this point and work your V's all the way around, just remembering to count up the V's and make sure that you've got 30 V-stitches along each side. That doesn't include the 2 V's here that form the corners. So you've got the corner V's, and then we've got 30 V's along each side, and I'll meet you when we get to the end of the row. On to row 27. We always join the last stitch to the first stitch just with a slip stitch, and then fasten off and cut off the yarn. So we're going back into the corners here for row 27. We're going to do 2 chain and 2 doubles, 1 chain and 2 doubles into the space between those 2 V stitches that we had in the corner. So we've got 2 doubles, chain 1 and work 2 doubles into that same corner space. We're now going to work a puff stitch into each of the V's. That's including the V's that formed the corner of this last row, and for this puff stitch we're going to do a 4 loop puff stitch. So I'm going to chain 1 after the corner, then we're going to yarn over into the V, pick up a loop once, yarn over, pick up a loop twice, yarn over, pick up a loop 3 times, yarn over and pick up a loop 4 times. So we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 8 of those loops. Chain 1 to fasten off the puff stitch, and then we're going to chain 1. We're going to go straight into this next V stitch here and do exactly the same. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yarn over, pull through all of the loops at the same time, and a chain 1 to fasten off the puff stitch. We chain 1 and then we're going to go straight into the next V and work exactly the same. 3 and 4. Yarn over, pull through all of the loops, chain 1 to fasten off the puff stitch and a chain 1. We're going to work all the way along to the last V on the side, where you'll work the last V, chain 1 and then join into the first stitch. So the corner stitches are 2 doubles, 1 chain and 2 doubles, and then we chain 1 and work the first puff stitch, chain 1 and work a puff stitch into each V all the way along till you come to the end where you've got the corner again. So if you want to pause the video and work all the way around and then join into that last stitch with a slip stitch, you can fasten off your yarn and snip it off. When you reach the corner on this row, we had 30 V stitches from the previous row, and then we had the corner ones as well. So at the end of each side you will have 32 of the puff stitches. I'll just work my last side on this row and I'll meet you for the start of the next row, which will be row 28. And ready for round 28. Again, we're going to start in the corner with a slip knot onto the hook. Going to work a single, 2 chains and a single into that chain space. We're going to do a single into the chain space there. Sorry, I've got that slightly wrong. We do the first single into this stitch here of the corner. So we're going to skip the first stitch, we're going to work a single into the first stitch there, we're going to do a single into the chain, we're going to work a front post single around the puff stitch, and then we're going to work two singles into the chain space here. So we've worked a single, two chain and a single, and then we've worked this first single into this second stitch of the corner and one chain into that chain space, and then the pattern repeat starts here with a front post single around the puff and then two singles, one in each of two singles into the chain space, and then we go again to a front post single followed by two singles into the chain space. We're going to work that again, we're going to go all along. So when we get to the end of the side, we're going to work as we did at the beginning so that we've got the correct amount of stitches. We're going to front post single around the last puff, we're going to work a single into the chain, we're going to work a single into the next stitch, and then we're going to skip the very last stitch in the same way that we skipped the first stitch. So we're going to single, two chain and single into the corner, we're going to skip this first stitch, work a single into the next stitch, a single into the chain space and a front post single around the puff stitch, and then we start again with the pattern repeat, which is two singles in the chain space and one front post single around the puff stitch, two singles into the chain space and again a single around the puff stitch, and we're just going to carry on all the way along. So the corners are just slightly different to the pattern repeat. So if you want to again pause the video and work all four sides exactly the same. So the pattern repeat on the sides are the two singles in the chain space and the one front post single around the puff stitch, but the corners, we've got one single after the last puff, we do a single into the next stitch, we skip the last stitch, single, two chain and single into the corner, we skip the first stitch, one single into the double there, one into the chain space, and then we start with the single around the puff and then the two singles into the chain space. So again, if you want to work all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get to the beginning of the next row. Row 29, again we've got just join with a slip stitch onto the hook. We're going to work in the two chain space here in the corner, we're going to work two doubles, followed by one chain and another two doubles into that same chain space. We're now working back post doubles, and we're going to work one back post double around every stitch. So around the first single there, oops, not got the loop there, work a back post double followed by a back post double into every stitch along the row. Some of the stitches that we're doing the back post double will be a front post that was around the puff stitch of the row before the last one. So it's a nice straightforward row, just working a back post double around every stitch. When we get to the corners, we're going to work the 2 doubles, chain 1 and 2 doubles, and then straight onto the next stitch with the first back post double. We'll work those all the way along, exactly the same for all 4 sides. So again, if you want to pause the video and work your row all the way around, we're going to join at the end into that first stitch there, just with a slip stitch, so you can fasten off and snip off the yarn, and I'll meet you at the start of row 30. And on to round 30. This is another of the Sunburst rows. We're going to start again in the corner, and this time we're going to work in treble clusters. So we've got 3 treble together, and we're going to do that 4 times with a chain 1 in between. So we'll start with a standing treble, but we're only going to work 2 of the yarn over pull through. We yarn over twice again into that same stitch and come through 2 twice, and then a 3rd time pull through all of the loops and chain 1. We're going to do the same again, and a 3rd time. The last time that we worked this row, we only did the treble 2 together there in the corner. On this row we're working treble 3 together to make the cluster. Chain 1, and then we do the same again, and a 3rd time, and then yarn over and pull through all together. We've now got 3, chain 1, and we're going to do a 4th treble 3 together. Yarn over and pull through all the stitches together there. We're going to chain 1 to fasten off that last treble 3 together. We're going to do a chain as well. On this row we're going to skip the very first stitch, which is almost hidden here under the corner, and we're going to work the treble 3 together over the 3 stitches. So into that next stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, then we do the same into the next stitch, and again into the 3rd stitch. We've got 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 4, and then we're going to work 2 chain. We'll go straight into the next stitch, and we're going to work the treble 3 together over the next 3 stitches, and chain 2. That forms the pattern repeat. We're going to work this all the way along this next side. Oops, I've only done 2 there. Start again. Now we've got 1, 2 and 3, and then yarn over through all the loops, chain 2, and then straight onto the next stitch. Chain 2, and work the next 3 over the next 3 stitches. So we're working all the way along the side working the 3 trebles together but over the 3 separate stitches. When we get to the end of this row, you'll have 34 of the treble 3 together, and I'll see you when we get to the other end. As we come round to the last treble 3 together, I'll just do the 2 chain there. We're going to work the last treble 3 together over those last 3 stitches there. We're going to skip the very final stitch, work 2 chain, and then we're going to join into the top of that first treble cluster that we started the row with. And again, you can snip off the yarn, fasten off and pull through. So there we've got row 30 completed. So row 31 is the same as we did on row 22. We're going to work 3 doubles in between each of the treble 3 together, and we're also going to work 2 doubles into this chain space. We're going to work the normal 2 double, chain 1 and 2 double into the corner chain. So we'll start with a slip knot onto the hook, and into that corner between, we've got 4 clusters, we're going to have 2 at one side, 2 at the other side. So into the corner chain we're going to work 2 doubles, chain 1 and 2 doubles. I'm going to go straight into this chain space between the 2 clusters. We're going to work 3 doubles into that space, and then we've got the space between the last cluster and the first set of 3 treble together. We're going to work 3 doubles into that space, skip the 3 treble together and work 3 doubles into the next chain space. And we're just going to work the same all the way along the row with 3 doubles in between each of the 3 treble together. And again, you might just want to pause the video and work your side all the way along, and when you get to the other side of this row, you'll then work the 3 doubles all the way along, and the last 3 doubles will go into that final space between the 2 clusters that formed the corner, and then you'll be able to again just join into the top of the first double of the corner on this row, and I'll meet you when we get to the end. And on to row 32. Row 32 is very similar to row 23. We're working half doubles and front post trebles. So we're going to start in the corner chain space. We're going to work 2 half doubles, a chain 1, and then we're going to work 2 half doubles into that same chain space there. We're going to skip the first stitch here that's hidden. We're going to work a half double into the next stitch. We're now going to work a front post treble around the first cluster here. So yarn over twice pick up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 twice, yarn over, pull through 3 times. We work a half double in each of the next 3 stitches. That's the 3 doubles from the last row. We're going to work a front post treble around this next cluster, and we're going to work a half double into each of the 3 doubles from the last round. We're now coming to the treble 3 together that were worked over 3 stitches. We're going to work a front post treble around the top of that stitch, and then 3 half doubles, one around each of the next 3 stitches. And this is now the pattern repeat, where we do the front post treble around the top of the treble 3 together, and then a half double in each of the next 3 doubles, and then we're back to the front post treble again around the 3 treble together that we did over the 3 stitches. So it's just the same all the way along to the end of this row. Just a 4 stitch pattern repeat, the front post treble followed by the 3 half doubles. So again, you can pause the video and work along this next side. When we reach the end of this round, just going to work the 3 half doubles. I've worked the first front post treble around that first cluster there. I'm working the 3 half doubles, going to work a front post treble around the second cluster here, and then we're left with 2 stitches. We're going to work a half double into the first stitch. We're going to skip the very last stitch and join with a slip stitch into that first stitch, and then work all 4 sides exactly the same, and I'll see you when we get to the end. And now to row 33. Going to start in the corner chain space here. We're going to work 2 doubles, 1 chain and 2 doubles. We're not going to skip the first stitch on this row, so we're going to do a double in each of the first 3 stitches, which are the doubles from the half doubles from the last row. And then we're going to skip the front post double here. We're going to go straight over onto the 3 half doubles from the previous row, and we're going to work a double into each of those 3 stitches. We skip the next stitch, which is the front post treble, and work 3 doubles over the half doubles from the last round. I'm going to skip that next stitch and then work 3 doubles. Skip a stitch and another 3 doubles. So we're just going to work exactly the same all the way along the row, skipping the front post doubles, working the front post trebles, and working a double into each of the half doubles. When we come to the end of the row, you'll have 3 stitches left. We're going to work a double in all 3 of those stitches, and then you're back onto the corner, which is the 2 doubles, 1 chain and 2 doubles. And then don't forget not to skip that first stitch, and we're working 3 doubles. So 3 doubles, skip a stitch, 3 doubles, skip a stitch, and so on all the way around. And I'll meet you when we get to the next row. At the end of row 33, you will have the 2 doubles at the start of the row after the chain space, and then there will be 117 doubles across. So we've got the 117, 118, 119, 120, 121 all together, including the 2 doubles that are in the corner of this row, if you just want to do a quick check to make sure that you've got the right amount of stitches. The next row again is a nice, easy, straightforward row. And we're just going to work a half double, a back post half double all the way along. So we're going to start with 2 half doubles into the corner, chain 1 and 2 more half doubles, and then we're going to work a back post half double in every stitch all the way along. And then when you get to the next corner, it's the same as the first corner that we did, which is the 2 half doubles followed by a chain 1 and then 2 more half doubles, and then you'll start on to the next side working a back post half double around every stitch. So if you want to pause the video again at this point and work your 4 sides, I can meet you when we get to the end of this row, and we'll start on the final row of this part of the tutorial. We're now on to row 35, and this is the last row of this part. We're going to work 7 double crochet shells. We're going to start in the corner as always. We're going to work 2 doubles, chain 1 and 2 doubles, all into that same corner space. We're now going to skip 2 stitches, so it's the first hidden stitch here and this one. We're going to work a single into the next stitch. We're going to skip 3 stitches, and into the 4th stitch we're going to work 7 doubles. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. I'm going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th stitch we're going to work a single. Skip 3 stitches and work 7 doubles into the next stitch. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then again we're going to skip 3 stitches and single into the next one. So we're going to work all the way along the row exactly the same pattern repeat, where we're going to work a single, 7 doubles into 1 stitch, skip 3 and a single, and I'll see you when we get to the end of the row. When we've worked the last single of the row, we go straight over into the chain space of the corner and work 2 doubles, 1 chain and 2 doubles. We're going to skip 2 stitches and then again we start with the pattern repeat. So a single into the next stitch, we skip 3 stitches and work a 7 double crochet shell into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Skip 3 stitches and a single, then skip 3 stitches and work the 7 double crochet shell into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7. Skip 3 and work the single. So you're going to just carry on all the way around all 4 sides exactly the same. Once you've come to the end of the row, again we're just going to join with a slip stitch into the first stitch, and along each of the sides you will have 15 of the shells. I'll just count those: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So you've got 15 shells on each side, and we'll be starting row 5 with the next row. So I hope you've enjoyed this part of the tutorial. I hope you will come back and join me for part 5. I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks, bye.